If I told you that J. Jonah Jameson and Elden Ring teamed up to make a game, I'll explain later, would you believe me? And if I told you that not only did this game win butt poop loads of awards, but is also PC Gamer's highest rated game in almost 2 decades? Well, we live in a place where that is possible. Enter Baldur's Gate 3. From the amazing world of the occult-loving and goat-worshipping Dungeons & Dragons, get ready to dive into what possibly could be the biggest game of this year. There are dozens of reasons for why this game is not only so big, but so highly rated, and when I say highly rated, I mean highly rated. This game is huge and amazing, almost to the point where it's too amazing. Imagine a game so good that it's too good. Take a nap with me, stay tuned with me as we dive into this, well, one-of-a-kind situation. Baldur's Gate 3, the game that was too good. Don't forget to subscribe. So, set in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, roughly 100 years after Baldur's Gate 2, in the modern Forgotten Realms era, the Mind Flayers have found a way to travel between worlds. And not this Mind Flayer, we're talking about these Cthulhu wannabes. Ooh, scary. That's a basic story cap, but basically, there's a whole bunch of playable characters, and as you go along, you can have people join the team, yada yada yada. Now, I could go on, but that's not the point, nor why this game is amazing and so highly rated. The simple execution of Baldur's Gate 3 is astounding. The voice acting is amazing. I hear they had like every voice actor wear mocap suits for all the animations, and there was something else, I don't know. And some of the voice actors are well-known Hollywood stars, like J.K. Simmons, or people who voiced in Elden Ring, like Jennifer English. Now, the pacing is something that doesn't seem super interesting, but can have a massive effect on a game. A mass effect in a game. Okay, I'm sorry. Even if you have a really solid video game with cool characters and voice actors, but the pacing is too slow or too fast, you can slowly kill the audience over a low bake. And get ready to hear me say this a lot more. A lot of the games these days have been continuously screwing this up. Take, for example, Dragon's Age Intuition, or Institution, or Instinct, or Instagram, whatever. This game had a decent story and a few impactful moments, but we were never crying about the death of a character, only how long it took us to actually get to this stinking cave in the first place. Baldur's Gate 3 perfectly nails the pacing. It's also story-rich, which already sets this game apart from the others beside it, as they have you going off on meaningless and endless side quests. The visuals are astounding, and the game has multiple endings, allowing you to truly take this game into your own hands. The simple execution of this game is miles beyond what we've seen in the last several years from other games. This is just a good game, and that's why it gets so many good reviews. In a world where everything has decayed and rotted down into the most greedy core elements of a company, we have the game that goes against that, and it was simply done better than the others around it. Now, I just found out that you can have a relationship with a bear. A bear. You know, once I discovered this, my interest and excitement for this game dropped really hard. Like, what kind of game is this? For some weirdies? Now, if this was another game in a slightly different situation, then this would be an amazing and positive video. But, need I say more? Enter the next page. Sorry, guys. Hello? You gotta be kidding me. Who is this? I'm really poor and need money. Dude, what? Who are you? Meet me at the back of Denny's at 1st Street at 1 a.m. on any Monday. Dude, I've already been through this. Is this stinking Mario? Oh. You gotta be crapping me. Just subscribe. Imagine a world where not only is every video game a total trash fire, but when we finally do get a good game, in fact a really good game, people still complain. If that doesn't say something about the modern gaming audience, then I don't know what will. Baldur's Gate 3 had a decent story, setting, and a bunch of characters, but it's the execution where this game really shines, easily making it one of, if not the best game this year, but it's too good. According to, well, July 8th, 5:53 a.m., xalavier, whatever, Nelson Jr. posted on Twitter, X, on why Baldur's Gate 3 is too good. Get a load of this. As he says on his post, I want to gently, preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. 1 out of 10. No, Mr. Nelson Jr., here's why what you said sounds nice and all, but is actually just dumb and exactly what we should expect from the higher-ups in the gaming industry. He is the studio head of Strange Scaffold, who is behind the game Hypnospace Outlaw. Let me rephrase what he just said, but without the sweet-sounding words. Baldur's Gate 3 is so good, well-written, and perfectly executed, like every game out there should be, and used to be as of a few years ago, whether you're an indie creator or a AAA company, that you shouldn't expect the other games coming out these days to be as good. Now, if you want the pure heart of what he said, here you go. Let's normalize bad games together. The company behind Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios, could have gone down the same path that Blizzard bathes in with the whole making as much money as possible no matter the method mindset. But they didn't. They just set out to make a good game, and in the end, they did it. Baldur's Gate 3 is exactly what we should be setting our eyes on. One of the points that our dear friend brought up farther down in the thread was that the other companies out there just don't have enough resources. That is just incorrect. I've never even heard of Larian Studios until making this video. EA, Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, all of these guys have enough money and resources to blast Baldur's Gate 3 out the window and into the doggy poopy mound. But instead we get games like Anthem, Overwatch 2, and Battlefield 2042. Heck, Cyberpunk 2077. And if you're saying, what about the indie game creators? Well, let me tell you the story of Luca Galante. While unemployed, he set out to fulfill his dreams of managing a community again, just like he used to on an old Ultima Online server. With only a bit of money, he set out and created a simple game. This game went on to win many awards, honorable mentions, and some of the highest reviews and feedback on some of the most popular gaming websites and journalists, even Game of the Year according to some people. Enter Vampire Survivors. So money doesn't really matter in this case, it's the heart behind the product. If you want me to go on, just look up the story behind Flappy Bird, for goodness sake. The reason Baldur's Gate 3 is leaving everybody in the dust is because they set out to make a good game, not throw away all ideas of quality or care or passion out the window, all in the sake of making as much money as possible. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, then you'll hear me talking a lot about the end or the fall of gaming. How something happened in the last decade, more specifically the last couple years, that's seen some of the most expensive games ever created getting the worst reviews imaginable, huge drops in players, and even boycotts. Just look at the reviews for Overwatch 2, I think that pretty much perfectly sums up this whole situation. Overwatch had a lot of great reviews as of a couple years ago, but then something happened recently and now you're lucky if you can find a 2-star review. In a world all about money, the quality of the video games being produced these days have dropped significantly. Because all the AAA companies out there are so dead set on making as much money as possible, we've lost the excitement for these heartless, careless, passionless products. But when a game that goes against all of this rolls by, we shouldn't get too excited or miss getting decent games, because not all companies out there have money and it sets the bar too high for fantasy games going forward. No, this is the joy of an oligopoly. People should play a good game and want more good games. This will not only increase competition between companies, which also means lower prices and higher quality games that actually also appeal to the people playing, but we will also live in a world where Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just a good game, but will also make the next game from Ubisoft, the next game from EA, the next game from Blizzard, from Sony, from CD Projekt Red, from Activision, a better game. Bringing back the good old games. So the comment left by our good friend, dear Mr. Nelson Jr., is exactly what we should expect to hear from people who are, game developers up there in the gaming community. Now, I'm aware that our good friend Mr. Nelson Jr.'s thread goes deeper, but for the sake of this video not being 4 hours, 29 minutes, and 53 seconds long, I'll end it here. Now, I am willing to go a bit deeper in the comments section with you. Just make sure to reply to my pinned comments and I'll try to get back to you. I'm not promising a reply, but I will try to get back to you at some point on the timeline of this planet, because y'all already know how busy I am. I love you guys, I hope you... Wait a second. Alright, Elden Ring, by far the biggest game of 2022, but also one of the biggest games of all time. This masterpiece of a game shouldn't ever raise our standards or expectations from other video games going forward. Instead, we should gently and preemptively push back against it. So put the controllers down, drop the excitement you had for this game that also made life more exciting and enjoyable, and go back to playing Mass Effect Andromeda, because that's a game that's actually good. Let's normalize lazy and plain greedy products together. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And remember, life is short. Play great games. Justice League, and I wondered where the heck is this game? In my 2022 games I'm excited for video, I talked mainly about Elden Ring, but also Suicide Squad. That video was made over 2 years ago, and where is this game? So I did a wee bit of research and I realized